What's going on, you Silesian sausages? It's your lowest quality but highest blood pressure YouTuber here. Now, for some reason you liked the video about Guild Wars metas if you actually cared, so I thought that instead of clickbaiting you with fairies again, I'll actually do some content. Now, in Guild Wars you can have two classes, the main class and the secondary class. If you want to learn about main classes, watch my previous video, the one where there is music for the first time. Here you'll learn what is the best first class, or the best for you actually, because there isn't a best class honestly. Okay, I'll spoil it. There's no meta for Guild Wars, it's pretty damn balanced, but honestly, it's still fun, and while at it, you can pick a second class which will be most suitable for your build. Now, shall we just carry on with the video? Now, in Guild Wars there is 10 classes in total, in Prophecy 6, 2 in Nightfall and 2 in Factions. Now tell me, genius, how many secondary classes are there to be picked? That is right, exactly 10. How did you come up with this idea? Now, secondary profession, just like the name suggests, is secondary. What it actually translates to is that you will just have skills from this profession. So all of the main attributes will stay with your first class, with your primary class. If you picked warrior, you'll have strength and stuff. If you picked ranger, you have a pet in marksmanship. If you picked mesmer, you'll have magical magician stuff. Now, for each class there is 130 more or less skills, meaning that there is a ton of them, and when you add a secondary class, suddenly we have over 250-60 skills per class, which is pretty damn much. So if you think about it, the more of these skills you have, there is more variety of builds and possibilities, which make the game very much balanced. But some of the connections work more or less better than the others. Now, how to pick what works the best? First of all, drop a like to this video and sub to the channel for more Guild Wars content as Reforged comes out soon. And if you want to learn something before the game comes out and be ready, continue watching. Now, tell me, what is your favorite class in the comments? Right, I just carry on with the video. How to get that bad boy slapped on your character? Well, if you'd go for PvP, you can just pick it. You start without a secondary profession, but on the skills menu you can just choose any profession you want for free any numbers of times you want. Now, those of you who just like I are into PvE stuff, you have to complete additional quests to unlock your professions. Those based people who start in Tyria, that is pre-searing, have to do additional quests for a second profession before they enter Ascalon Academy. Those who start in Factions, they have to do a quest, Audience with Master Togo, and then pick the second profession. Now, if the SAS is with us, there are also Nightfall players here. For you, it's level 5, then secondary training quest, in which you'll meet one of the experts who will give you your expert secondary profession. Now, as I said, in the beginning of the game, at any point in any campaign, you can just change your class after you tried it out. However, after you start the main game, it will get more difficult. For prophecies, you'll have to reach Ascension, which I won't cover today because it's too much work. If you want a video on Ascension, just drop a like and comment and tell me about it, I might do it. For factions, the equivalent of Ascension would be Wayno Su. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly. And for Nightfall, it would be becoming a leader of Sunspears by completing the quest Hunted! Exclamation mark. So now we know how to get those professions. Why don't we learn about what professions are the best for each class? I divided the video into sections so it's easy to navigate, unlike public toilet after a good night out. So without further ado, let's carry on. Starting up with Muscle Mommy, who can take and give a punch as well. Warrior goes the best with Assassin and Dervish, obviously, as these are the two melee classes connected to dealing damage. Assassin is increasing their chance for critical strikes, and overall the skills are focused on fighting one-on-one. The Dervish is good at turning himself into a stone and then waving his hands very quick, kind of like a turtle, except he waves his hands very quick. Now, if you have prophecies only, Monk is also a helpful choice. You can heal yourself and help others. For the same reason, pAragorn would also do quite well. What I wouldn't go for with Warrior would be any build focused on dealing ranged damage. Like, I understand chasing after enemies can be difficult, but if you're not in pre-searing, then you'll have archers and other guys taking care of that. Focus on melee damage and taking a punch into the face and not crying. Now a build I recommend would be warrior build for a warrior monk class called Gates of Krita Farming. The link to that build is in the description. Now if you don't like getting too close up and all personal, you can pick Ranger. Surprisingly, the Ranger is pretty tanky thanks to his skills, so going for any build focusing on melee attacks as a secondary class such as a warrior, assassin, dervish or a pAragorn would work just fine. Just imagine inspiring speeches and a bow and fighting melee. It's pAragorn. I think I made that joke already in the previous video. Now personally, when I like my ranger dealing damage and focusing on his marksmanship, I like to have minions tanking for me. Besides having my pet, I also like to go for necromancer or ritualist. Romancer. That's getting a bit too kinky in here. Now the closest build, I didn't follow it, but the closest build to what I like to play would be Spirit Spammer. Ranger who basically spams spirits as the name suggests. Build is also in the description. Monk. Now if you like to pray that you survive and not actually do anything about it, main monk. For the monk I would actually propose to go for pAragorn, but honestly I would firstly go for pAragorn and then for a monk. But then if you want to play the monk I'd do the opposite, as both of them can have some nice helping skills. If you want to do some magic, however, go for Mesmer. Mesmer's inspiration magic can help for energy management and deflecting hexes. Now yes, monks are important, but it's important to play them well. And if you go solo without a party, playing a monk in player versus environment might not be fun. I would recommend to play them in PvP, however, because everybody will want to play with a healer. Now I don't really play this build, but then again I'm a monk hater, but I saw a lot of people playing it in pre-searing, a pre-searing monk farmer. A link to this build is also in description. Now the necromancer. People say that necromancy doesn't exist in real life, but if you saw me drink matcha after waking up, you would change your mind. A funny build to play, I think, would be a mix of necromancer and a ritualist. I actually never went for it. I might try it out. Imagine spamming both necromancers and ritualist minions. Another thing that will work well will be Mesmer. It's pretty common build to go for necromancer and Mesmer, because Mesmer can help with energy management, restoring energy and stuff. Assassin also gives some perks when it comes to dealing damage, and Dagger is pretty alright. Assassins would also go well with the Necromancer thanks to their Dagger and skills which help with the output damage. Now what I like to play as a Necromancer would be a build based kind of on Bone Fiend build, but also a mix of Mesmer with the skills that allow you to regain your energy. But basically focus on your soul reaping and death magic, and also bone fiends which help you attack. Now coming up next with the Mesmer, our sorcering boy. The Mesmer goes well with the Necromancer. Because of the playstyle, Necromancers and Mesmers did the same thing, and also you can have some fiends tanking for you. Now it's pretty important to note that Mesmer's ability to cast fast spells is only for Mesmer skills, so don't focus on magic as much if you want to cast spells fast. You can use different classes as well, such as for example a ritualist or a monk if you want to duplicate skills related to resurrection. Mesmer also goes well with assassin, and there is a couple of builds for that. If you wanted to check one out, I'll give one in description. Coming up next, the Elementalist. Elemental choice for playing in pre-searing. If you want to play Elementalist, play it with Ranger so the animal tanks some damage for you. Due to its questionable survivability, mixing it with Dervish for spells that help you survive is a good choice. Elementalists also have higher base energy, so they are good for mixing with other magic classes, for example Ritualist or for example Necromancer. Again, more tanking with these summoning boys. Now on the official Guild Wars wiki page I didn't find any Elementalist builds that I'm familiar with, but rule of thumb is Elementalist goes good with any of the magical classes, and also in pre-searing it's good when you have an animal tanking for you. I linked an Elementalist Mesmer mix build, which isn't what I know, but it's the closest, so there you go. Now it's time for factions, and starting with Ritualist. This guy would be funny with Necromancer because you can spam both Ritualist and Necromancer minions. Also, mixing it with Assassin for the same purposes as Necromancer is okay for the help with damage output. Mesmer is also pretty alright for the help with sucking the energy. Because Mesmers suck in a good way, like they suck the energy. Like here I wanted to speak about sucking the energy off someone, but sucking off is a term which I'm not going to use in YouTube. Of course, in the description I added an interesting build. In the optional slots of the Ritualist you can add skills of Necromancer to spawn its own minions. This way you can spawn a couple of other minions at once. Now coming up with the second factions boy, the Assassin. The Assassin is good at killing. It's basically a ninja, but not Japanese. Now, Assassin goes well with many classes. It goes well with Ranger for ranged attacks, it goes well with Warrior for close-up attacks. It's just good for dealing damage, less for tanking, but more for being a killer, which basically being an assassin means. In the description of this video I linked a really good assassin build which makes you basically a fast boy. Basically you play Sonic, but you play it in Guild Wars. Now let's talk about Nightfall and the pAragorn, a unit who is behaving like a Greek Roman, basically a Byzantine. Byzantine? How do you say it in English? Just Eastern Roman, alright? pAragorn goes well with Warrior for the tanky purposes. Also Monk, but then pAragorn already has supporting skills, so it's not necessary. Assassin is good for additional damage output for the pAragorn. Dervish will be good for additional protectional spells. Basically anything that goes well with melee and throwing spears can make your Greek up the phalanx. What am I doing in my life? Now, funnily named build Imbagon is one of the best and pretty much overpowered builds for the pAragorn. Its connection of pAragorn and Warrior, and allows you to pretty much endlessly boost the tankiness of your team, making it absolutely strong in PvE. Last but not least, we have the Death itself, the Dervish, and its fast attacks while it can turn itself into a stone with its cool scythe, basically shouting, "I'm an edgelord, and it's not a phase, mum." Dervish goes really good with Assassin for its daggers, and also for Warrior's heavier weapons, which can be enhanced by his enchantments. In the description I linked a build for a fast Dervish if you want to be fast as frig boy. And that pretty much sums up this video. Again, if you want to learn about the primary classes, go to the previous video that I recorded on that topic, but in that video I also mentioned a very important thing. The game is pretty balanced. There isn't such a thing like meta. There are some pages which claim that they have meta builds, but then again there are many more builds which are pretty much as good as the others. Just play the build that you like to play. You don't have to follow meta rules unless you go PvP specifically and you want to be reassured that you're the best. But for PvE, which is the main focus of that game, it just really doesn't matter as much. Although you can try builds that are being published, for example by me. If I were you, I'd just stick to whatever you like and whatever makes you happy, because in the end, the game is just a game and there is no point stressing about it too much, is there? So thank you so much for staying with me today, and as always, remember,